I'm Sawyer, and you're listening to Our House A to Z.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's been a minute.
Oh, man. It's been more than a minute.
Yeah, it has. It's been a
But it's
summer.
good. This is what I like to say. We had a lot in the archives that people could go back and listen to. Because unless you were like a faithful Our House listener from back in 2020,
Yeah,
I mean, you got a lot to catch up on.
there are some faithful
So hopefully we
listeners.
kept everybody busy still, regardless of not coming out with a new episode every Friday.
Right.
But kids are back in school. I feel like we're going to have a little bit more routine, maybe?
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I talked to some people who spent the summer listening.
Or just like waiting for the new podcast to come out.
Well, going back and listening, and pretty funny stuff. I was talking to one of our interns about it. He actually verbalized out loud what the thing that we all thought was going to be weird, which was, he's like, so if I like say something like I know you that well, if I like say something about like your life and say it like with the confidence like I was there and experienced it, he said it's because I listened to the podcast. And I was like, oh, okay, well that might be weird, but it also might be really good.
Oh my gosh, that's true. I mean, it's good. It's great.
No, it was really funny.
It's fantastic. But a lot has happened, a lot of great things, busy summer, a lot of hard things. I mean, last week, just for time sake, for understanding where we are in time right now, if you're listening at another time, Charlie Kirk was just assassinated last week. Mm-hmm. And so it is a very big deal. I want
to use the word martyred. I want to use the word. I don't know if I said it in the message on Sunday, and I wish I would have if I didn't. But I think that it's important for believers to be able to associate modern day 2025 Christian martyrdom in the United States of America.
Well, for Americans, that's so foreign. You know, like there are other countries where it's not as foreign of a concept.
Right. Well, when we hear about it, we think third world, like places in political unrest and, hyper-communist states and things like that, like, crazy places like that. But no, this was on an American university campus.
Yep.
Crazy.
Right.
Crazy.
Right,
So,
and he's there ministering to students, so it's just...
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do a podcast on it. I feel like it's too hard. There's just like too much to say about the whole thing.
We don't need to do a podcast on it. I mean, believers have been inundated with it, but I want it to not just be like, we talked in staff today about what happened after 9/11, and for 6 months we had Christians like getting back to church and on their faces and interceding for America and that sort of thing. And I don't know how to keep the bride sober regarding this. It's like it's sobering. Like it was a sobering story, and it was really sobering for those of us raising Christian teenagers who are learning modern day apologetics from somebody like a Charlie Kirk, and then feel that loss more than maybe some of us in our 40s who are like, yeah, we're not really listening to guys who speak to college kids. We're probably not as tuned into that, but it was just it was awakening, jarringly awakening. And I want to stay awake.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, I mean, his passion was ministering to your students. He's at a ton of secular campuses where that is literally what we have seen is that be the time where students, for some reason, can get so brainwashed in that time period. Mm-hmm. And it's like he realized that and saw the need and filled a need and stepped in for the sake of all of your children.
Right.
And was assassinated doing that.
Right.
And it's sickening. It's really just horrible.
And I also think it's like, it's hard to like try and separate it as much as we want to politically separate it from a lot of the like liberal agenda. It's hard when Charlie Kirk was the one pointing out how there was like this astronomical majority of random acts of violence connected with transgender assailants and LGBTQ community adjacent people. And I'm like, it's hard to like try and build a case without considering those things because you're talking about such a tiny minority of the American population responsible for such an overwhelming majority of these acts.
Yeah, I mean, I think to say in recent years, I mean, know, if you look back at Columbine and Sandy Hook and all these things, like there wasn't anything associated necessarily if it came to gender identity, but the common thread is brokenness. I mean, maybe even a little more specific than just general brokenness. I mean, something's broken if someone's bringing and shooting into a crowd of people. Yes. Correct. Something's broken. What I'm saying is it's almost unavoidable, the specificity of the mental illness that's involved.
And I think that's what's like no matter what, like you would have to be deaf, dumb, and blind, willfully deaf, dumb, and blind to avoid the reality of that.
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's hard for people to hear because
there's
it's
still something that comes out of a brokenness. And instead of like a community coming around and saying this person needs help and they need to be like ministered to, or they need to be healed.
Yes.
But like allowed like the Lord to like bring healing to this broken piece. Instead of it, it's like encouraged and celebrated. And it's like, no, they're like not healthy. Like in their heart, they're not healthy.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong that they need healing from. And instead we like fan that flame and there's an instability there.
Yeah. So this is actually a really interesting topic and probably pretty controversial because Well, no,
Definitely.
I mean going down this road. So, like, there was a time when, shamefully, the American culture sort of, like, relegated disabilities into this box of, like, less than. People who, like, weren't able, it was literally disabled, right? They were disabled by whatever that was, a physical issue, a mental issue, a capacity issue, whatever it was. It was a shameful place, right? It was like, oh, there were all these really crass jokes around it and things like that. And then there was like the dawn of an age of awareness where people were starting to, even with the idea of like the Special Olympics and things, and people are saying, okay, there are disabled folks who we want to be able to participate in, you know, you see like wheelchair basketball leagues, and like there's like this dawn of awareness, inclusivity of folks. And in a weird way, I almost feel like we've got to be able to draw a line still between, okay, that's awesome. That's where we need to be.
Right.
But when you have some of these other mental illnesses grouped into disabilities, we want to celebrate with transgenderism like we would autism. It's like we're grouping this broad brushstroke together.
I don't think anybody's calling it disabilities.
I'm saying it's like scientifically it's a mental illness. It's like a dysmorphia. There's like a misidentifying of your body and like a hatred toward self. It's like equivalent to an eating disorder or worse. But we don't celebrate eating disorders with people. We want to see them get help. Like cutting, right? So let's say there's a mental illness associated with self-harm, right? We don't celebrate cutting with people as healthy human beings.
Yeah.
We want to see those people get help. We don't celebrate anorexia with people who are literally dying from
yeah, I get that. I don't think that everybody would probably
issues.
say that transgenderism, if that's what you're calling it, transgenderism is a disability. I don't think. Maybe gender dysmorphia, that's more of like, that's something different.
Well, I think it's kind of rooted in something's broken. You just said it. It's brokenness. So instead
that's how I see it as a believer, but not everybody sees it that way.
So do we?
Where everybody's going to say autism is autism is autism. Like like to us, it's something different. Not autism, but I'm saying when it comes to like transgender types things.
Yeah.
And identity issues.
Well, and I want to be clear, we're not grouping this all together. I want to point out that in our nation, we have taken disabilities like dyslexia or autism or some critical malfunction or social issue, and we've grouped it together with all this other stuff, and we're saying, okay, let's celebrate this together. These people are a minority, they're prejudiced against, they're stereotyped about, they're whatever. But I don't think that's
life
fair.
Life is harder because they don't fall into like a category.
Yes, life is harder. So we set up bathrooms for these folks. We set up schools and learning centers and special resources for people with autism. We're setting up bathrooms and dressing rooms and whatever else based on a mental illness that we should not be celebrating, but wanting people to receive healing from. And that, I think...
But you're right now, so you're saying you're considering it all mental illness. You don't think that it has anything to do, because I feel like mental illness is like something a little bit different to me than like identity issues. I wouldn't go and say everybody with an identity issue is mentally ill.
Right.
I mean, I think that's like a really
but I would say
that
that there are spiritual components to it.
Okay, agreed.
I would say some sort of psychological brokenness.
Okay.
Spiritual or otherwise. So maybe there's an abuse component in the background. Maybe there is a trauma component in the background. Whatever it is, all of these things that we're saying, no matter what, we're saying, okay, what is this? Is it spiritual or is it the nature versus nurture thing? All of those things would arrive at an eating disorder. They would all arrive at self-harm. They would arrive at transgenderism and a lot of the associated identities. We don't celebrate these other things, these other psychological brokennesses. We want to see people get help, and we send them away to programs. They're committed into institutions to get help and to be made whole. But then we're taking this other one and we're flying their banner high when we clearly can see they're responsible for this crazy majority of random acts of violence.
I get what you're saying. I
And
think
that's
it's
why
like,
you married me, because you get what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
I also understand that it's highly controversial.
I mean, it's not just highly controversial. It's very broad. That's like saying if 3 Christians committed crimes, it's definitely mental illness, because obviously the odds, like we were looking at statistics, and 3 out of 5 of these crimes that were committed were by Christians. So all Christians are like, no, that doesn't make any. It's it's really sad. I think it's horrible.
But so that I get what you're saying there.
It's not like all people who struggle with transgender identity issues are like committing murders. And that's kind of how you're coming out. And I don't think that's the case.
My point is that we have over 2,000 years of history of Christians. And yes, we have the Crusades as
you have plenty of murder there.
A pretty dark, patch in our history, which was, by the way, the Dark Ages, everybody was off. I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff going on. But Christians are not such a small, isolated group that we can point to them and say, well, 3 out of 5 were committed by Christians.
Right. There was like Native American abuse. There's like child abuse. A lot of stuff happened under a Christian banner.
But I want to see some numbers, because yes, an increasing number of whatever people may identify as transgender, but out of compassion, I want to see a shift from evangelical believers to approach them with a compassion that wants to see these people be made whole, instead of a compassion that sees them as victims of culture and we need to celebrate them and make sure that they're not held responsible or accountable for their crimes or their issues or the fact that they're dealing with some serious brokenness. Okay,
so let's go to that positive then. So what are you encouraging Christians to?
I think believers need to stop.
No, not stop.
Yeah.
What are you telling them to do?
You have to stop something. You have to stop going with the flow of culture.
Okay, so what should they start doing?
They should start seeing this for what it is, treating it like they would have compassion on an eating disorder or self-harm, because it's literally self-harm.
I agree.
You might not see blood running, but it's self-harm and self-sabotage and purpose sabotage and destiny sabotage and all of these other things. So I want Christians to look at it that way and start to approach this instead of like these people are unicorns that need to be like protected.
I agree. I
and
100%
treated
agree.
like totally, it's like, no, you don't actually need a bathroom set aside for yourself. You need somebody to love you into health, to like walk with you into health. And I believe that there are Christians currently who are probably anointed by God to do this, but it's very eggshell territory, because of how culture would look at you and say, you don't understand this and you're ignorant, and, maybe just an overhaul in how we're approaching it. I would love to see us go after God's heart and how to address this stuff.
Yeah, I think what's hard is that because of this like great chasm between like the world and the church, where's the bridge? Because it feels like anybody that's on quote unquote the other side, what is the attraction? Do you know what I mean? Like, what would be the attraction to the church? Where do we have these opportunities to even like minister to people struggling with these things? Because from my seat, there's not a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so it's like easy from the other side of the wall, and there's no bridge to cross to like yell about what everybody's doing wrong.
Well, that doesn't help.
Exactly.
Well, I'll say this. Let me take that back. It doesn't help for them to hear it. I believe the church needs to hear it.
Yep.
The church needs to be yelled at about what they're doing wrong, not the transgender individual. I prayed with a transgender young person at our altar.
I know, but I'm saying that's so rare.
Maybe for one to come in and come down to an altar call, you're saying?
Yeah, it's that constant, you come to us. I mean, that's like the church.
Yeah.
Like, come to us. We have the answers, but we're just going to sit here and wait for you.
No, I think believers need to be available,
I
accessible.
know. I just wish there was a way. Like, I think about social media and I hear all the time, like, oh, everybody's just going on and saying their opinions. And I think I've said that like a billion times. And there's truth to that. But you have seen, like, we've seen major waves made from social media, whether it's within the church or if there's a movement, or like social media can create some serious momentum in a direction.
Yep. Almost
I mean,
always.
they can spread like a rumor, like rapid fire on social media and have it like around the whole world in a matter of an hour. And like, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
But what is like the message? You know, we're talking about, we did a social media fast last year and like how great it was for the individual on like the end of not being on social media.
Yeah.
Let's say you were going to use social media as like a tool to get a message out there to the unsaved. And let's say there's no name on it, like it's not a church branded movement. But what is the message that the church should be sharing to the world? Like, what is it that would like bridge a gap? Because imagine if you had like thousands of Christians sending the same message instead of all of the like anti message.
Yeah.
Like the possibilities there.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing, that's the stuff that bothers me.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like just put up a scripture verse, because some people, like, that is a trigger for people. Do you know what I mean?
So how do you work around that?
I don't know.
I mean,
but I feel like there's something. I feel like there's a way.
Like, I feel like sometimes you want to say, well, what's the like most disarming thing? Like love.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if we're just Jesus, but that's triggering to people.
No,
like,
I get it.
I mean, I feel like I'm triggered a little bit by the love thing, because it's like
Overused
you're so
kind of
used to it
thing.
being a manipulative thing,
Yeah.
or it being something like a pseudo unifier. So you can't. I mean, if I could create an app that Christians could all download on their phone and it would not let any like hate come through, then I would do that, you know? Like, at anything you type that's not 100%.
Then I would do that.
Love,
I know, but it doesn't even work that way, because it's like people are still like, they're putting up scripture verses that are like just like using as battering ram kind of things. Like, I'm going to use a scripture verse this time that's to defend my side and my point. And again, there's justification for that. There's like a lot of things. If we're going to always bring everything that we believe and stand on back to scripture, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're taking in the full context of the heart of the Lord in the Bible, and not just like pulling out like random verses.
Well, and that's what we're known for, is you pull out the verse that, I mean, I remember I preached one Sunday during the BLM thing and got like completely roasted because somebody said that was a passage that slave owners used to preach out of to defend slavery. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we should probably tear that out of the Bible then, right? Like, we should just remove that from scripture, because someone or some group during some time period in some point in history decided to take something out of context.
I get it.
And it's like, oh my goodness. Like,
I know.
I can't with that.
It just makes me mad. And it's like the same mantra that I always go back to. It's like, you just want everybody to like do better. Like, you just want everybody to be better.
Yeah.
And
well, Christians. And
exactly.
Judgment begins in the house of the Lord, right? And it's like, I really feel like we as believers, we've got to try to get this right, and it's going to crucify parts of our flesh. It's going to crucify us, and we're going to have to surrender to some and submit to some next level disciplines, because it's too easy to fight. It's too easy to keep hurling things back and forth, especially between us as believers, but then between us and the world, like none of that works. None of that holds up. I feel like some of my crosshairs have been on fallacies in the church, like places where the church has gotten it wrong. And like, I've been accused of being hard on homosexuality. And I've said to folks, I actually, if you listen to me, they're like, you treat it worse than any other sin. I said, actually, I almost never bring up homosexuality comparatively to other sins like disorder in your marriage or like neglectful like parenting. Like, there are other things that are way more prevalent for our congregation. But when I do bring it up, the attack is not on homosexuals. It's on the church that has watered down or completely disassembled its truth on what the Bible says about homosexuality.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the person that's in the sinful lifestyle. It has everything to do with where we as Christians have chosen complete willful ignorance against it.
Right.
And to me, we need hard preaching on that, you know? Mm-hmm. So how do we get off on that? I don't know.
I don't know how you got there.
I don't know. Anyway.
It's something
So let me ask you this along these lines.
I don't want any of your weird questions.
As a woman, what are your thoughts after the Charlie Kirk martyrdom? What are your thoughts on gun control?
Oh my gosh.
Because I've actually
been this on a podcast?
Well, I've been like revisiting it like in my mind.
Okay. Listen, I don't know every state law across the country.
Okay.
I am definitely a right to bear arms advocate.
Not like sleeveless shirts. You mean like
right? Usually, I'm not
ownership.
a right to bear arms in that case.
I know. I'm thinking like if you're on the worship team, you have no right to bear arms.
I think everybody should have the opportunity to defend themselves and their families.
Okay.
I really do. If there's ever if somebody ever broke into somebody's house, I feel like, I came from a family that grew up hunting, so guns were no big deal. That was
Right.
a very normal thing. Like you got a gun at you started with a BB gun and you had a shotgun by the time you were 10 years old. Like there was never anything weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't come from a worldview that is guns are horrific and only the Nazis carry guns. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have a guns are dangerous thing. You have it into just the way that you were taught as a kid, gun safety. We went through safety courses. You were brought to a class to learn gun safety and all of those things.
Yep. There you go.
And I understand that not everybody has the opportunities to go through that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so I understand now as an adult, I can see, okay, yeah, there are dangers in that. We've seen situations where kids have injured themselves or killed friends in houses where parents had guns that weren't locked up. You've seen all of that, all of the horrors. But at the same time, do I think that it's right that you just ban guns? No, it's you can try to ban drugs. The people who shouldn't have it still get it.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be sin and there's always going to be people who are doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
So do you punish everybody and create an environment that's not safe for the rest of the world in order for just the unstable people to have access to it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Interesting. Oh, well, that sounds like a lot of wisdom. Do you think that it is ironic that the greatest amount of gun-related crimes happen in jurisdictions with complete bans on guns?
I would say that's ironic. I don't know that. I've never seen that statistic.
Well, I know you can't, I'm thinking most larger urban places are some sort of complete, Chicago, Boston, these places where you can't have a gun inside city limits unless you're law enforcement or whatever.
Right.
So you can't carry, 100% ban. I think New York City, I don't know these for sure, but I know, I'm pretty sure I looked up Boston a while back and it was a no gun because we were going there for, to go out to eat one night or something. And so I was like, I can't bring my sidearm. So I'm thinking, the highest rates of gun-related crimes are in places where they're illegal, and the highest percentage of people committing gun-related crimes are people who are affiliated with anti-gun parties.
Yeah. That to me is always very interesting.
Well,
that's been one of the hardest pills for me as well. And again, I understand that there's people on the other side that have all the right defenses and all the right fights for what we're sharing right now. I understand that you're entitled to your opinions and everything.
Sure.
I've just have seen that a lot of crime that's happened. Anytime there was any major incident, there's been insane fallout the next day nationwide in every city, horrible looting and fires and car flippings and shootings, and so much crime has ensued when certain people don't get their way or feel like they were done a disservice or all of this. And then the right is blamed for how horrible they are for believing that people should have guns.
How many people on the right are actually holding up gas stations
with
guns?
Guess, but then it's the Charlie Kirk things happens and you have an entire conservative party that's devastated and horrified, and a good percentage of them believe in the right to bear arms, and nobody's bearing arms. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's out there shooting people up.
Yeah, it is interesting. Which tells me,
throwing fits or having protests or
right.
Flipping police cars and burning police cars and all of these things. And so you have to ask yourself, what is that?
Yeah.
What is the reason for that? So it is frustrating. Do I think that anybody should have access to guns? No, I don't. I don't think that. I think that there's a ton of deranged people out there that have no business having
people with mental
firearms.
illness. People with mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, that and beyond.
Well, I'm saying people who...
Like criminals.
People who are considered a danger to themselves or others are not allowed to have guns.
Yep.
Right? Like they'll go in your house and take them out or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope so.
Well, no, I know so. I know people who either have committed themselves or have been committed because they're a danger to themselves and others. And one thing that the local police department will do is they will go and confiscate the guns of that individual. If somebody's diagnosed with PTSD or, you know, some of these different things that are considered mental illnesses of some form or fashion, it's not safe for them to have guns. Another reason why I'm looking at, if we can call this what it is, if we can call it a mental illness, it's not safe for these people to have guns.
Yeah.
So if you can isolate the gun problem to a group of people and say these people aren't safe with guns, why don't we start to look at gun control a little differently?
Right.
Instead of let's just ban guns. Well, we are already the places where we've banned guns have the highest percentage of gun related issues.
And that, yeah, and it doesn't work. And again, I always go back to the drug thing. It's like we've put, and everybody feels the same way about drugs.
You always go back to what drug thing? Do you want to, are you confessing something?
No, I go back to the thing where it's like, you can have the entire country working on dealing with a drug problem, and you're not getting it out of the hands of people who want them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, who are going to do the wrong thing, make bad choices, don't care about the betterment of, like, society. Those are the people who are still going to go after this stuff because they're going to do it illegally.
Correct.
So those are the people committing the crimes, the ones who are doing things illegally in the first place.
Not the people who, like, have guns and
are going hunting.
Are practicing gun safety and are raising their kids in a healthy way where they're, like, exposed under constant supervision.
Yeah, and again, like, I think you can be anti-gun because you have never experienced it in a healthy way. Maybe it's been always something that's scary to you, or you've only seen, like, the dark side of that. And that's very possible.
How do you not outlaw knives?
I don't know.
I mean, or like crowbars. I mean, people commit crimes with
I get it.
all sorts of things.
I get it.
So it's insane. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, I mean, just imagine being on the other end of somebody breaking into your house with a gun. Like, just imagine being on the other end of that and you have a family at home.
Yeah.
I think that anybody would say they'd want to be able to defend their family.
Well, not Canadians.
They don't want to defend their families?
No, they want to wait for law enforcement. Well, that's, I mean, they're
what did they ever do to you?
Their political leaders are asking for people.
That's not Canadians. That's a political leader.
I'm just saying. I've always thought Canada was a nice little hat. Sits on top of our country.
You have a very big paintbrush that you paint with all the time. It's like a roller, like one of those wide ones that only the painters have.
That's me.
It's
I'm
like
a painter.
18 inches wide.
Yeah. I like that. Anyway.
Those Canadians.
Ben,
they don't want to defend themselves.
You can have fun with that one. Anyway, I think our outro should be the maple leaf rag today.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I get it. I get what you're saying, and I don't want to over stereotype or generalize.
Good for you.
Here, that's not what I'm out to do. But I do think.
I just think if somebody wants the right, like have the right to it, I think that gun regulations should be enforced. I do believe in that because of the crazy out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the amount of paperwork you fill out, and I think you can't even take a handgun home the same day you buy it unless you're buying it out of the trunk of somebody's car.
Exactly.
Which is already illegal. So,
I know, but I just think about, would a criminal be less apt to go into a school and, like, shoot somebody up if there was an armed guard outside the door?
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
And do I hate that it has to come to that? Like a third world country where there's, like, people with guns everywhere? Yeah, I hate that. Like, I think that's so stinky for America. Like, it doesn't feel like America.
But if you're talking about somebody that already has a mental illness, they may be planning on dying in this anyway. There's a suicide part of this too, which is why mentally ill people just shouldn't have guns.
Right.
Which is why
But again, they're not getting them legally.
And that's kind of where I feel like the gun control should swing towards liberals just not having guns. I feel like we'd solve a lot of problems.
Well, I think that's fine if they don't want them anyway. So that's great.
Well, why do they always end up with the one when it comes time to commit a crime? Or
liberals commit crimes.
Kill a Christian.
Zac.
I mean, there are white collar crimes that I'm sure.
There sure are.
Yeah.
There are white collar crimes and
Cow tipping. There's some cow tipping going on in some of the red states.
There's also like right wing extremists that are like psychotic.
That's true.
So don't.
Mental illness.
Exactly. But it's on both sides. Don't forget that.
It is on both sides.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they shouldn't have the rights to guns either because they're nutso too.
Right. All their guns are in bunkers though. So.
Exactly. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, with that said,
oh my gosh, how is this our first podcast?
It's good to be back in the swing, back in the game.
I wanted it to be lighthearted.
So did I.
It is lighthearted. We can save this for next week.
Oh my god,
let's do a different one. Just kidding. No, I think the good thing is that everything the enemy does to kill, steal, and destroy, the Lord is in the incredible, sovereign, divine business of turning it for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so I'm already seeing that in a generation. So I'm very thankful.
We're going to
the
have
Lord.
A way more uplifting podcast next week. It's going to be awesome.
Come back to our house next week.
Until next week. We'll see you in our house.
This is Messer. And I'm Willa. This is our house from A to Z. Thanks for coming over.
Well, isn't that special?
Lock the door.
Am I in danger at all?